What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 71 of Snakes and the Fat Man. Morph Market has really been talking up the whole Morph Market NFS for the last few months. Morph Market NFS refers to a collection of services which enable us to go beyond sales and support all animals in the herp industry, including breeders, holdbacks, and pets. Pets. Bet you never thought you'd see a fucking pet on Morph Market. Just showing off the pet. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Chris, enough of your bullshit. When is it going to be live? Well, let me tell you something. It is live right now, and it includes new capabilities to help you manage your whole reptile collection and history. 3 visibility settings for ads: public, private, and unlisted. New animal statuses: not for sale, loaned, and archived. They got a new animal manager to more efficiently explore, organize, and update your data. They got inline and bulk editing. I know what you were thinking. You were thinking, Chris, this thing is going to be fucking useless if it doesn't have bulk editing. Well, it has bulk editing. Booyah. It even has a customizable interface. That's right. Think John's fucking around? John ain't fucking around. It has initial lineage support. Sellers can create parent animals in seconds. Buyers could learn more about the animals they're looking at by viewing their parents. Now they got not for sale animal pages. You want this? Can't have it. Boom. They also have breeder not for sale galleries right on the seller's pages. And here's the kicker, okay? This was what I was waiting for. Look, I told John, I don't even give 2 shits about this unless it's gonna have a data dashboard. Lo and behold, what does John give us? A data dashboard. It just makes it easier to stay on top of all your data for your animals. You could analyze and monitor summary stats, animal stats. I mean, it just does everything here. You could even explore the animals behind the numbers. I don't even know what that means. Fucking, that's how ahead of the game John is. It's Morph Market's goal to not just provide the industry a platform to buy and sell, but software services which support the entire life cycle of breeding. And this is just 1.0. There's so much more coming. Is it https://www.morphmarket.com/blog/2022/021/1. Fucking, just copy this link down here. Fucking Bitly, John. You're a fucking genius, man. Use Bitly. Christ, I'm not the only guy that knows about Bitly, right? Fucking, I don't know. Listen, still a fucking genius. Still fucking a badass platform. Still a badass new feature of the platform. Go to morphmarket.com right now and become a member. All right, let's talk herps for a little bit. Sean and Lori are currently in the middle of a very well-deserved break. But when they come back, and they'll be back at the end of February, they'll be in Corpus Christi, Texas on February 26th and 27th. They'll be in New Orleans, Louisiana on March 5th and 6th. They got a little home show in Bryan, College Station, Texas on March 12th and 13th. They're going to be back in Louisiana in Slidell on April 2nd and 3rd. They're going to be in Beaumont, Texas on April 9th and 10th. They're going to be in Temple, Texas on April 16th and 17th. They're going to be in Austin, Texas on April 23rd and 24th. And they're going to be back in Amarillo, Texas on May 14th and May 15th. If you have any questions, herpshow.net will be your go-to for answers. While you're there, drop Sean and Lori an email and tell them how awesome they are. This is probably the best run show circuit in the country. That's all I'm saying. A little biased, but you know how it is. All right, so I know all of you are probably just a little bit USARK'd out this week. And I'm not going to tell you anything new. I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't know. But if you're not a member of USARK and you own a reptile, what the fuck, man? I know the majority of people watching and listening to this are already members of USARK. And the issue that I'm seeing with all the podcasts and the YouTube channels talking about this ad nauseum over the last week or so is that odds are all of their listeners and watchers are also already members of USARK. I mean, really, if you have future aspirations to be a breeder, if you own reptiles, if you're interested in it so much that you're watching podcasts and YouTube channels about it, you're probably a member of USARK already. We really have to reach outside of the community at large. I mean, I know like the bird people and the tarantula people and the invert people are all, talking about this issue as well. But I think it has to go even more past that. We have to get the dog and cat owners to give a shit about us and our animals. And to be honest with you, I don't know how to do that, okay? What I do know is that what we're doing isn't working. I was listening to a podcast with Ryan McVeigh last night, and he was saying that over 70% of the people that use Ship Your Reptiles actually uncheck the box that automatically donates $1 to USARK. If 70% of the people who are making money on this business are doing that, the problem is not with the people who are trying to shut us down. The problem is not with the government. The problem is with us. So think about that the next time you decide to uncheck that fucking box. Now, I'm not gonna bully you into joining USARK. I've been seeing that way too much on Facebook feeds and Instagram feeds this week, and I don't think that that's the way to get people to join, okay? Look, here's the deal. I'm an asshole, right? And everybody knows I'm an asshole, but I'm still a member of USARK. I've never unchecked that box when I've fucking shipped out animals, and I've shipped out hundreds, if not thousands of animals. So basically, my plea to you is just do the right thing, man. I mean, if you own a reptile, you should be a member of USARK. Just do the right thing. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the fucking problem, man. How fucking thrilled am I to have Focus Cubed Habitats joining the Snakes and the Fat Man family. They are literally the best display cages that I've ever owned. I was a fan of this husband and wife team of builders from when they were putting out these amazing pieces of fucking art from their garage. Stephen and Ashley have been keeping reptiles for years, and as experienced keepers, they understand how important your animals are in your life. Focus Cubed Habitats provide security and comfort for your animals while maintaining these insane, badass designs that everyone can appreciate. They give you the opportunity to make their home part of your home. You want options? They've got options. Every focus cubed habitat is custom made to your specs, and you could choose from hundreds of options on their website. Too many options? Ashley and Steven have a huge selection of blog-style articles and complete accessory fact pages on their website to help educate consumers about add-ons that will best fit their individual needs. Listen, at the end of the day, these fucking cages are showpieces. Every cage their Focus builds will be the centerpiece of your reptile room. Hell, they could be the centerpiece of your fucking living room. If you have reptiles that you want to display, look no further than Focus Cubed Habitats. You can follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and even fucking TikTok. Or just go old school and go right to focuscubedhabitats.com and tell them that the fat man told you to drop them a line. Now, the second thing I want to bitch about, and this is one of the classics, okay, one of the Sinks and the Fat Man classics, is these dumbass cunt Facebook ball python groups. I don't know if you saw my post last week, but a friend of mine got kicked out of the group called Derpatology for putting up a picture of a ball python with the spider gene in it. That's it. That's it. The reason for her getting thrown out for putting up her ball python with the spider gene in it is the dumbass twat admins of that page decided that the spider gene causes drama between other ball python people. And one of the rules was you can't cause drama in this group. Now, the main thing I want to say is fuck derpatology, okay? Fuck you little liberal snowflake fucking cunts that can't even look at a picture without needing a fucking safe space to run to. The second thing I want to do is I want to call out some other dumbass fucking groups that have similar fucking rules and are run by similar fucking retarded people, all right? Yeah, I said it. That's right. So if you're a member of derpatology, obviously unjoin or unfollow or whatever. I mean, it's a group full of fucking morons, right? Now, some other groups full of morons are the FBI feedback and inquiry groups, where they're trashing people left and right. Yeah, one of the rules is you can't trash people, okay? Another one full of fucking morons. And then ball python enthusiast. If you're on there, get your ass off that one. That's, full of a bunch of fucking attention-seeking twats too. Now, the funny thing about these shit groups are people who are members are only posting pictures to get attention. But you're getting attention from fucking dumbass noobs and fucking people that own a single snake. They're not potential customers. They don't even have a fucking dollar to rub together. I mean, if you've seen some of these people's setups, you would obviously know that. So unjoin those fucking groups. Again, derpatology, get the fuck out of here. FBI feedback and inquiry, doubly get the fuck out of here. And ball python enthusiasts, we don't care. Get the fuck out of here. We hate you, okay? Any legitimate breeder is not part of these groups. Now, there are good groups out there. And, a couple of groups that actually have the Fat Man recommendation because I'm a part of those groups and I use those groups to advertise. But I also know the admins on it or on them. And I know that they're not fucking morons and a bunch of fucking twats. Now, the good ones you could join are Snake Women and Friends. I mean, I'm not positive if there are more women or guys on that group, but either way, I know the admin is a woman, so she's very cool, very badass, and she supports the show, and has never done anything fucking stupid. P. Regis Underground, or P. Regius Underground. Those are my people. Those are great fucking people. Join that fucking group. And Cold Blood Unlimited. That's one of the better groups out there too. Go join those. But fuck dermatology. Fuck ball python enthusiasts. I mean, and the thing is, they have like fucking 5, 6, 7, 8,000 members. How the fuck does that even happen? Anyway, fuck those groups. Too many of these groups are allowing idiots into them, and we gotta put a stop to it. That's the bottom line. Again, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the fucking problem. That seems to be a running theme this episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes in the Batman proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Lame!
Hey guys, it's Justin at Canova. So in the past few years, Canova's become the top source for amazing ball pythons. Now Chris tells me, Justin, it's time to give back. So we're sponsoring the 15 Minutes of Lame to support the new and upcoming breeders. So jump in here. Let's hear your ideas. Let's hear your thoughts. Maybe you can turn your 15 minutes of lame into 20 years of lame, just like I did. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So bring it.
15 Minutes of Lame!
All right, everyone. I have Kasey Parker from Storybook Serpents here with me. How are you doing, Kasey?
I'm all right. How are you today?
Good. Just plugging away, trying to get shit done. You know how it is.
I feel that daily.
Yeah, that's just what it is. Now, okay, so you basically know how this works. You're gonna get 15 minutes, and we're gonna cut you off after it goes down to the wire there, and we're just gonna talk about you, and you pimp all the shit that you want in that 15 minutes, okay?
All right.
All right, so we're going to start right about now. So, first of all, the name. What's going on with the name?
There's not really a specific moment with the name. I thought about a name for a really long time and kind of kept scrapping everything that I came up with. And I mean, I'm always a fan of the whole fantasy fiction type things. And that name kind of came to me one day. It's a little more cutesy than I planned on, but it just kind of stuck.
Okay. Well, believe me, it's way better than Kasey Parker ball pythons or KS ball pythons. So I'm going to give you like a 7 on the name.
All right.
Because it's way better than most people's. So now, this is the big question. You're in Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
So would people like Justin and Bob Vu in Georgia, why the fuck should people buy from you instead?
That's a good question. I guess I don't see it as a competition. I promote my Georgia people as well. I haven't met Justin personally. But Bob Vu, Michael Weaver with Dreamweaver Reptiles, they're all people that got me started. And so it's not really that I try to get people to buy from me per se versus them. I think just having quality, healthy animals and, just kind of, if I have something that somebody wants, hopefully then they would get it from me. But again, I don't really see it as a competition. So.
Okay. Well, and you're entrenched in that Bob Vu clique, that Georgia Bob Vu clique, right? It's like Texas got the mafia, Georgia got the clique. How did that become a thing? Like how did you get in with them?
So I mentioned Michael Weaver. He actually would be the one to really thank for getting me into this hobby. I got my first snake, of course, pet store snake. Everybody doesn't know any better. Just, that's kind of where I started. But I got my second ball python ever from Michael, and he invited me out to his house to see everything and, kind of see what it was about. And I started studying the genetics more. I used to study when I was in horses. I was big on like genetics and things like that. So even though at the time I just had a pet snake, it went quickly into me being kind of engrossed in all the genetics to it, and thought it might be something that I wanted to do a little bit. So Michael kind of helped me get started, and then I started going to some of the shows and, met kind of the rest of the Georgia crew. which included Bob, and it just kind of fell into place. I kind of hung out with everybody, and then Bob became also a really big mentor and help as well. But I mean, a lot of the Georgia crew has been a big help and just kind of took me in. It wasn't really anything that I tried to get into the Georgia clique, as you call it, as much as, I was out there trying to learn from them, and they've been, nice enough to help me with things.
And you technically vend with them, right? Like your setup is with that particular group, or no?
So I book tables on my own. But if it's a show that, Bob or Michael or, Frame Shift Reptiles or anybody like that are doing, then typically we try to set up the tables close together and all hang out at the shows.
Okay. And what made you decide, like fuck, I could actually make money at this stupid ball python thing, and it would be a considerable amount of income. I mean, not considerably, but it definitely, if you're good at it, even the bad people are making between 5 and 20 grand a year at it, as an extra side hustle. So when did you decide I'm going to do this more like a full time thing than
Um,
just
so
a
it's
hobby?
not, it's not quite full time for me. I'm a veterinary assistant full time. And I think starting out, I didn't actually expect to go as big as even the animals we have now, or eventually want to go full time. But I think now, it may be something that we definitely do if we get big enough. I just kind of, like I said, I got stuck in the genetics of it and thought it would be really cool to kind of create things and work with, the different morphs and genes and all of that. And at the time, I didn't really care if it made me money as long as I didn't lose too much. But, we all lose money in this hobby. My hope was just to kind of pay for my animals and it pay for itself. It's really only our third year in it, our second year really producing. I only had 5 clutches in 2020. 2021, I had 11 clutches. I think I've got 27 females that hopefully will go this year, which will be a lot bigger for us, but still really small compared to a lot of people. So, for me, it wasn't really about the money. It's just something I enjoy when I come home from work and, want to mess with animals and plan things out. Then, that's kind of where I get to escape a little bit from the everyday.
Right. Okay. Well, now when you say we and us, husband, family that you're involved with?
Family a little bit, mostly me. My dad's retiring in June, and he started with, you can see some of the racks behind me. There's a melamine one over this side, but the others are PVC. So he started building us some racks when we started. I've also got an ARS rack over here, but he's kind of had fun doing that and wants to do a little bit more of that when he retires. So he's done some of the shows with me to sell some racks. But other than that, with the snakes, mostly me. Just out of habit, I say we because we do the shows together.
Right. Okay. Cool. Now, let's just talk some money with this. How long have you been doing this to a level that you feel is, more than a hobby?
Really, I would say 2021, the second half of 2021, when we really started doing shows and, investing in equipment for shows and more things is where I think it became a little bit more than just the hobby.
Okay. And then, wow. So really like 6 months then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're still pretty new in it.
Okay. And how much money have you put into this since you started it?
Oh God. It's actually something where, it's tax time, of course. So we're sitting down and looking at that. Probably more than I would like to admit, but I mean, between racks and animals and stuff, probably just in 2021, easily, I would say between 5 to 10 grand.
Okay. And how much of that have you made back?
I mean, we've probably made, after you take costs and things of vending, some of the shows and animals we've sold on Morph Market, I'd say we probably made back about half. It, probably isn't a year to be called profit, but I didn't expect it to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you put in 10, you got back 5.
Yeah, probably a lot more investing this year than expecting a return.
even if you put in 10 and you got back 5, you are crushing it, my friend, compared to most of these fucking people who are like, I put in 90 grand and I got $700 back so far. so you're way ahead of the game as far as that goes. Now let's just talk some sponsors. Do you use Reptile?
Right now I actually use Pro Coco.
Oh,
I know.
Oh,
you can blame Bob for that one. I get it from them.
Reptile gives a big fuck you to Kasey Parker. Okay. Have you ever bought a snake from Justin?
I have not.
Justin gives a big fuck you to Kasey Parker. You use Morph Market?
Yes.
Okay, so John Lehman's very happy. Okay. I'm guessing you never used SD Design, right? Okay. Not. Blake Stewart gives an F you to Kasey Parker.
I'm just pissing everybody off over here.
Okay. So, did you ever vend a Herp show?
I have not. I would like to do Slidell. Like I said, we just kind of started vending and they're a little further out. So I haven't wanted to spend the travel costs on some of the shows far out. But we are looking, if we have enough babies, at some of the Slidell shows later in this year.
Okay. Well, Sean Gray is potentially giving an FU to Kasey Parker. And do you keep other species other than ball pythons?
We do. We have a couple crested geckos. They're kind of more my mom's hobby. But I'll probably have some of her babies at some of the shows this year. And then I have a pair of carpet pythons. I'd like to get more into those. They're breeding this year for the first time. And African house snakes, because there's not a lot of people doing those captive bred.
All right. Well, Boa Affliction gives a big FU to Kasey Parker. But it's okay. It's okay. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to guilt people into it's just funny saying that people that would never say fuck you, I'm saying they're saying fuck you. You do. Now, what's going on with Kasey Parker when she's not doing shows or snakes?
The veterinary industry is pretty busy and fast paced, so that takes up a lot of my time. Other than that, I'm pretty low key. I like training dogs. I used to train horses. I don't really get a chance to ride that much anymore, but obviously an animal person, which is kind of what got me into the snakes. So I've got a training puppy right now, actually, that is having to go to the shows with me because I took on a training dog while I'm trying to do the reptile hobby this year, which is fun. But yeah, just kind of day to day between work. I work 10-hour days and then getting home and taking care of reptiles. Just kind of, chill with friends and do dog things and dog sports, but not too much craziness other than that.
Well, and how many animals are you working with right now?
Reptile wise or just in general?
No, ball pythons. Just
so we've probably got about 50 adults right now. I had probably about 75 hatchlings earlier this year. I've got 20 something left. And then of course some grow outs. So probably a total of a little over 100 animals here. Okay.
And you do the local Georgia shows. Obviously you're a show person, right? And you do the show me shows and probably Repticons?
I don't really do Repticon right now. I've been mostly doing the show me shows, Georgia, Tennessee. We're going to do some South Carolina shows, I think, this season.
Okay. And are you not doing the Repticon shows because of the Bob problem?
I mean, not just the Bob problem, but the reason that some of the vendors, including Bob, left Repticon, just how they treated their vendors. And, I kind of was in agreement with that. And, Mickey's doing a little bit better as far as trying to cater to vendors and just trying to support people that support us.
Right. Yeah, no, Mickey's doing great. Now the last sponsor, obviously, you don't buy from Serpents because your dad makes PVC racks, right?
He does. You can't really see it, but right here, the little black hatchling rack sitting up there is a Serpents hatchling rack. So, I definitely support them when people are looking for racks, especially that aren't local to us, because we don't build a lot right now, and definitely aren't doing it on a super professional level as far as taking orders or anything. I've recommended their racks to people. like I said, my dad just kind of likes working with the PVC, and the racks have worked good for us that we've made, but I like sea serpents.
Well, Chris does definitely not give you an FU. So that's awesome. Now, how could people get in touch with you? Because you're young, right? How old are you?
I am 29.
12. Okay, so you got the TikTok and the Instagram and all that other shit, right? So,
I do have Storybook Serpents has an Instagram. I am not the best at keeping it updated. I'm actually not an Instagram fan. I need to do better. But we do have a page. I do check the messages. I'm just bad about posting updates. Facebook. The business doesn't really have a TikTok, but yeah, mostly just Facebook, Instagram, and then of course, my phone number and email are on my business cards that I hand out at shows, and people can text, call, email, whatever's easiest.
Okay, and what would you prefer?
Probably email or even text, or message on social media, just because again, during the day I'm at work and as a veterinary assistant, so getting voicemails and returning phone calls is a little harder than returning an email or text.
Right, and you guys are slammed right now still, right? Like
we are.
I mean, are you letting patients or owners come in at this point, or are they waiting in the car still?
We are. So we did curbside for a while, and then right now it's kind of, we're offering either. So for clients that feel more comfortable staying outside the building for COVID, we're doing curbside. For people that want to come into an exam room with their animals, we're letting them. It's kind of both at our hospital right now. It's a pretty big hospital in Sugar Hill, Georgia. So
okay, and what made you decide to be a vet tech? Is it just because of your love of animals, being that you had the horses and the dogs and all that other fun stuff?
Yeah, it just kind of, I didn't plan on vet tech from the beginning. I had a really good friend when I was 17 that got me my first kennel job. And that was actually at a place that trained Schutzhund and police canines and stuff. So I did a lot of that, worked there. I've worked at animal control. I did a little bit of my own dog training for a little while. Then I kind of went into the veterinary industry, and I actually was a receptionist. So
it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You're done. Continue.
So I did reception for 5 years at a veterinary clinic, and then just due to having to move areas, I was looking for a job again, and there was a tech position open, and they were willing to train me, and I was all for it, and now I love it. So.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Well, Miss Parker, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, you're the first woman of 2022. So it's all good. Hopefully we'll have some more. But thank you again. And I hope, when's your next show?
We are doing Knoxville on the 12th and 13th.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Well, go out to Knoxville on February 12th and 13th, right before Valentine's Day, and visit Kasey and buy a fucking snake. So.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, Kasey. Thanks again.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes in the Batman proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Lame!
Here at Snakes and the Fat Man, we're huge supporters of diversity. We're proving that point here by having our first ever boa breeder as a sponsor on the show. Boa Affliction has been around since 2010, and when they saw the VPI T-positive gene, they immediately shifted their focus and decided to make not just visually stunning albino boas, but they quickly realized that the T-positive snows and sun glows really stood apart from the T-negative albinos that were available at the time. This original VPI gene has maintained its place in the market for the last 10 years and shows no sign of slowing down. Here's the thing. When you invest into your 401k, a 401k for all you ball python people is a fund that you invest in for your retirement. But when you invest in a 401k, you just don't invest in Walmart. You invest in Amazon, Verizon, Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. That's all we're trying to say here. 100% of your collection doesn't have to be ball pythons. throw a few boas in there and be part of a different type of cool crowd. And when you do that, invest with Kenny over at Boa Affliction. Great, no bullshit guy with an awesome website. And how in the fuck am I gonna say no to a guy who uses this chick in his promo picture? Can't do it. Can't do it. I tried everything. Go check out Kenny today at boaaffliction.com. Sticking with my supporting of diversity, I actually hired a millennial to handle all my social media, but I had to fire him because he didn't show up for work. So I'm just going to leave this picture up here for a little while longer. Fucking Rudy Delgado of Dogg Reptiles. I mean, really, what a class fucking act, man. Just a huge name in the reptile podcasting space and an instant friend. I love the way this guy has taken his show to the next level by going outside of the reptile community with his guests. It's something that we're trying to follow in the footsteps here. Guys, I hope you like this one. I mean, it went a little long because me and Rudy could fucking talk. But he's so much fun to talk to. You make a joke, he fucking gets it. He's brilliant. He does about 5 other businesses on top of the reptiles. He's just a fucking good guy. Here is my one-on-one with Rudy Delgado of Dogg Reptiles. Everybody, I have one of the fucking big dogs in the podcasting world here, man. Fucking Rudy Delgado from fucking Dogg Reptiles. What's up, brother?
Hi, how's it going? I'm excited to be here.
Oh, dude, I'm fucking psyched that you fucking said yes, man. It's all good. It's like you really. I think I saw somewhere on Adam Wicken's channel. He called you the Joe Rogan of Reptile Podcast.
Oh, cool. Who was it? I didn't.
Adam Wickens, dude in Canada.
Oh, Wicked Reptiles. Yeah.
That's so you know, so and then I looked back, and we had actually talked like a fucking year ago, and I didn't even know you had a channel, right?
Oh.
And I started watching all of them, and I'm like, this guy is fucking incredible, man. Let's get this guy on the show.
Yeah.
The great thing about you is you were kind of like a breeder, and then you started a podcast, and you interviewed other reptile people, and then you started branching out and interviewing, you know, some different people, and then now you're up in the celebrity stratosphere, right? You just had Kat Von D on, you know, you're having some other you know musicians on, and that's totally like that's really what I want to talk about. Like
okay,
I could give a fuck about ball pythons and fucking snakes and shit. We'll touch on some of that, but so just talk to me about how you started doing the podcasting thing, because that's what I think people want to know about. Like when did you decide like fuck it, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring on this podcast thing or YouTube thing, and how did it start for you?
Okay, it really started with a homie from back in the day when I barely started in all this, and he fell off the face of the earth. He's one of those guys that kind of just fell off, and I'm hoping that maybe someday he comes back. And I was just thinking about him yesterday. I'm like, man, I'm gonna reach out to this guy. And his name is Ed, and he's from the Genetic Hunters. A lot of people do know who he is, but a lot of people don't because he's been out of it. And he used to do like this positivity movement thing.
Was this the guy whose house burned down?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if he had a lot of tragedies happen back to back. He did.
Like, and he was living in his backyard with his family for a while.
Yeah. And he was living like at a hotel for a while, and a lot of his animals died and stuff like that. And so anyways, he used to do what was called the positivity movement. He do nightly like live streams when YouTube was implemented the live streaming and stuff like that. And he would do like nothing but positive stuff, and then he would get people like throughout the US involved, and he would and I just really liked it. I'm like, bro, how do I get involved with what you're doing? I mean, I like positivity, I like inspiration and stuff like that. So we even went to his house, and at that point I think I had like 8 8,000, maybe 10,000 followers. No, maybe like 5 or something like that on YouTube. So, you know, we were all small, you know, we're all just barely getting started and stuff, you know. And I went to his house. I told him, look, dude, I stayed till the end. I believe in what you're doing, man. I believe in this. And I will continue to be here, but I want to see you continue in this, and I want to see how I can help, you know, and kind of just be a part of it and so on. So yeah, we collabed and we did a few videos together, but then I saw that he was kind of fading away. He was having a trouble with his home, at his home, and he was having trouble with this. He was kind of fading away, and I'm like, oh shoot, well, I can't go tell a dude to get out of his personal life and, you know, start, you know, continue to do this. And I'm like, well, you know what? You know, I think maybe I can do it, you know, and then I thought maybe I can do it. And it wasn't really about the positivity movement. It was just about just doing interviews and shining a light on who I think the rock stars of the reptile industry are, you know, and who I feel should get more light. And I just want to, if I was able to sit down and just pick the brains of, you know, the JKRs and the Brian Barcheks and stuff like that, eventually get to that point, you know, I really like to. Plus, I get to talk to a lot of people about reptiles, what I like to talk about, you know. And then, so this started maybe about 3 years ago now. I think maybe 3 years. Okay. 3.5 years now, I think, when that started. Before that, I just did, you know, just educational content and updates and breeding content and regular snake content. And I used to try, you know, Brian Cusco was one of the guys I aspired to do, you know, do all this editing stuff and drone shots and all that stuff. I never got to the drone shots, but I'm like, man, it was so much work. It was a lot of work, all this editing. So I thought, well, you know what? I got burned out from the editing stuff, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give that a try. I just go live, and then I cut it at the end, and then that's it. It posts, and maybe I'll do a thumbnail, maybe I won't, you know, and so on. So I did that, and that's how it pretty much got started. And then it ended up being more of a positive thing, more of like, I want to hear about your life, about your story, and turn it into something where, you know, young adults, because that's mainly what follows me, or like mainly the younger crowd, can get inspiration. And then I'm like, well, what if I kind of steer my conversations towards, you know, inspiring people to want to be part of the industry, like people that don't know the industry, that stumble onto my content, that can actually benefit from the therapeutic nature of keeping reptiles. And because that's how because I suffer from anxiety, and I mean suffer from anxiety. You know, it's not just I have anxiety. It affects my life. It affects the way I think and my heart and my emotions and stuff like that, you know. So I'm sorry about that. My phone keeps going off. So it began to kind of turn into like, I can steer conversations. I'm like, I can kind of steer conversations, and I've been doing that, and now it's full-fledged, you know, turning into this thing where if you want inspiration, if you want to hear someone's story who's successful now, and you hear that they're going through the same thing as you're going through now, maybe it'll be some other guy's peril or bad times, an inspiration to someone who's going through the same thing. So that was kind of like my mindset, and that's kind of, I'm keeping true to that. And at the same time, also making sure that I keep true to my reptile foundation. I will never get rid of my reptile. I'll always mix it in with this kind of mainstream, almost kind of celebrity mainstream kind of content that's being created outside of the reptile, to kind of bring the industry, new people to the industry, and then our industry into new people, you know. So that's kind of more like I'm advocate for the industry, for the community and stuff like that.
Right. I love what you're doing, and you're doing it in like such a non-corny way. You know, I hear you. There's dudes out there that are doing it, you know, a lot of the big guys, but some of them are just so fucking corny with their fucking stupid catchphrases and the fucking, you know, you're just like, shut the fuck up. I get it. Okay. But now, do you work during the day, or is this your full-time gig now?
No. I am self-employed. I've been for like past almost 25-30 years now. I'm actually a licensed general contractor, so I do the construction thing, and then I also contract with like hotels and the LA County and like churches and stuff like that. But that's more construction. I also do technical repair work, that's more technical, and I do this for like Living Spaces Furniture, Ashley, Lowe's, Best Buy. Those are like my clients. And I mean, I can get into a whole thing about that, but yes, I do have a full-time Monday through Friday, freaking 10-12 hours a day job. Yes. And I do this stuff like on my spare time, breeding and podcasting and you know, and doing reptile shows and stuff like that. It's all on my spare time.
Right. Okay. So you, initially, Rude Dog Reptiles was started to be a breeding operation, or was it just you keeping some animals?
Me just keeping animals. I never really aspired to be any type of breeder at all. I only have about maybe 10, maybe 13 ball pythons. That's all I have. I never set off to be a big time breeder. I really set off just to put my stuff on Instagram. On Instagram, YouTube. That's originally how I started. I just want to put it out there and see what happens, you know. And then eventually one thing formed into another. I got inspiration from like Philip DeFranco. I got inspiration from like the Joe Rogan podcast. Obviously, I got inspiration from Kasey Neistat. Obviously, Brian Barczyk, Brian Cusco. You know, I was getting all this inspiration from all these different outlets, and I allowed it to kind of enter me and allow me to regurgitate creativity into all the different creative outlets that I have. I have to have multiple creative outlets, or else I start to, you know, not feel so well emotionally and mentally and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. No, believe me, I get that.
Yeah.
Are you married? Do you have family, kids, anything like that?
Yeah, I am married, and between my wife and I, we have 5 kids, and they're all grown adults. Yeah, no, it's done. It's done.
Oh, all right, good. They're gone.
We started really young. My wife and I started very young. We were in our mid-teens when we started having babies and stuff like that. So all our kids are adults. They're out. We have one daughter that's not out of the house yet, and I do have a couple of grandbabies. So that I do have all of that stuff going on too. Yeah.
No, I love it, because how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I don't mind. I'm going to turn 49 this year, so I'm 48.
I'm okay. Whoa, that makes me feel really good. 48 here too.
Cool. Yeah.
I just had another older guy on, and I really like talking to people my age a lot more than talking to 30-year-olds, you know. So
we have a certain mindset. Yeah, that's different. A little different.
It's really just so much fun. But it's funny that you mention, you know, people like Kasey Neistat and Rogan and all that, because you know, I'm on YouTube all day, every day. You know, it's always in the background, you know, at work or, you know, whatever. And you know, I'd be watching Neistat and what's his name, Marquise Brown. And I'm just like, I'm looking at all these young kids, and I'm like, you know, like maybe I could do shit like that too. And that's the only reason I'm doing YouTube. You know, is because you're like, okay, maybe I'm not the old guy at the bar in YouTube world, because that's what I was terrified of being, because I used to be a musician, right? And I was just terrified of being that old guy at the bar. And just fucking, you know, hitting on young chicks and, you know, doing, and now, you know, I got this stupid podcast where I get hit on young chicks, so it's perfect. I mean, it all works into the, you know, the end game. But
it's funny that you say that. I last night, I don't know if you know these guys. Last night I went out to dinner, late dinner with Nick the Wrangler. I don't know if you know who he is. Nick the Wrangler with Josh from South Bay Reptiles, and another gentleman. He breeds tarantulas. But in any case, all that to say that, they were all there. The oldest guy there was 32 years old. That was Nick. You know, he was 32, and at that moment, I'm feeling either I'm going to sit here and feel old, or I'm going to sit here and be the badass.
Right.
That it doesn't matter. Look how old I am, and I'm still relevant. And I'm still chilling with youngsters. Right. And youngsters, they invited me, man. They didn't even have plans to go to dinner until Nick said, "Hey, man, let's take Rudy to dinner." And they invited me, and they went to dinner because, you know, to hang out with Rude Dog. And I'm like, that's the way I need to think about it, because as you get older and you start seeing all the wrinkles and stuff like that, you start thinking, less. And I tried to be like, nah, man, I'm going to switch this thing around, and I'm going to choose to be like, well, I'm the badass of the group then.
Right.
That's it.
No,
That's it.
Well, I could, I can't be the badass anymore. I could be the funny dude, but not the badass, So now you're fucking busy on the podcast to be doing a full-time job on top of everything else. Like every video I see, you're at a different dude's house,
Oh,
so like you're doing a lot of fucking traveling. Does your job obviously allows you to do that, huh?
No, because and it's a common misconception. It's a common misconception because when you're self-employed, you work, you make money, you pay bills. When you don't work, you don't make money, you can't pay those bills.
Right.
So you gotta. If I do take time off, which sometimes I do, it does affect me financially. That's why you gotta get people to work for you. And I had already retired from working. I already had my own people, and they were running my business, and I was just doing networking and doing bringing in new business and just marketing and stuff like that. But obviously, because of the chain of events that happened recently in our whole world, I'm back to doing the tech work myself as well. So that's kind of how that happened. But I lost my train of thought, and this is going to keep happening because of my past and doing all the crazy partying I used to do. What was it that you asked me? I forgot. What was the question?
Does the podcasting and traveling?
Oh yeah,
does your job allow you to do all that?
Yeah. Okay. So it does. It does interfere with work, but I do it at a sacrifice. But I do have to confess this. I really don't create that much content. It looks like it, and I can see how it looks like it to a lot of people. But on my YouTube, I post a new video on YouTube maybe once a month. Right. Twice tops. I used to post like maybe 2-3 times a month with my interviews and stuff, but it went even down lower, and I took it down lower on purpose because you know what, I got a lot of interviews already in, and things are going well. I don't need to just crank it 3 times a week. I have a lot of things going on. So if I can throttle it a little bit and kind of just step back and just put out as much quality content as I possibly could, then that's kind of the way I do it. And now the trip that I took is the first trip I've taken across the U.S. my whole life.
Oh,
it's the
really?
first time ever. Yeah, I don't do it frequently, and I do want to do it frequently. But the reason why that came about was last year, and it's not a secret. It's not necessarily public information, but it's not a secret either. Last year, I unfortunately had to ask my wife for a divorce. And as far as details, I'll tell you this because everybody is always dancing around with should I ask, should I not ask, and stuff like that. It is something that she did. She's been doing for many years, and it's just something that I cannot accept. Right. So I need to. I value myself too much to allow myself to stay in this relationship, and we've been together for 27 years. So we've been together for a very long time. But in any case, that is actually what triggered me to start asking celebrities for interviews. And that is actually what triggered me to be like, I'm going to just do Rudy, because I throttled my whole life. All this Rude Dog stuff was throttled because of my relationship with my wife. This whole Rude Dog thing is actually a wedge that's been put in between me and my wife. Wife. Well, but it's a wedge that she chose to make it into a wedge between us. Instead of being a wife that supports her husband, she's doesn't want to do it. So in any case, those are the things that kind of led up to my mom. All that just to say that my mom, I had told her, hey, Mom, I asked Jessica for a divorce, and this is what's going on. And, she's crying. Everybody's crying. I let my family know. And she said, you know what? For your birthday, I'm going to take you to Texas where your sister lives. You've never been there. I've never been to visit my sister. So I'm going to take you for a week, and we're all going to have a good time just to get your mind off of stuff. So that did it. And then that's when I had already been planning this trip since like earlier in the year. So this trip, I didn't take it till last month. So a long story longer, I decided to go instead of going to Texas and coming back, I decided to go to Texas. From Texas, go to visit JKR, then Ozzy Boyd's, and then ARS, and then Brian Barczyk, and then Billy Rose, and then all that stuff. I decided to kind of do like a just get out and leave for a couple of weeks and just
do a little tour. Yeah.
And you know what? It was the best thing I could have done for myself. I came back. My mind was reprogrammed. It's weird. My mind it's completely different. I completely had compassion for my wife and the whole situation and everything that's been going on. And my mind hasn't changed, but it helped me to put things into perspective, you know?
I get it. Yeah.
And then I recorded everything, obviously. And I've only released 2 of those videos, and I have still many more to release. And I'll release some in the next couple months. No rush. Right. I'll edit it whenever I have time, and I'll get to it when I get to it. And then I'll do my interviews, and then now I've started editing my interviews too. And same thing. I'll get to it when I get to it. Like I mentioned earlier, I just did a podcast with Sand Dog from Cypress Hill, which is real exciting for me because this dude's been famous and has been around, you know, Southern California for a long time. So it was a real special thing for me.
Right.
But but that one I won't release till, I don't know, maybe another couple of weeks or something. No rush. So that's kind of my mindset.
Yeah. No, that's what I've been doing too. Like interviewing people 2 and 3 weeks beforehand now.
Yeah.
You know, just to have it done and not it be a rush, because I only do, you know, 2 to 3 times a month at most. You know, so I like knowing that I have the next 3 months just in the can and, you know, ready to go. So I totally get that. But, you know, look, 26 years, long time to be married to one person. I got to be honest with you. I mean, I was married for 10 months. 10 months, I couldn't take it anymore. Okay.
Yeah, man.
So, you know, so I totally get that. Now, you're in Southern California right now.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Where in LA or?
Yeah, South Pasadena area. I guess that's the best way. Yeah, to describe it.
South Pasadena. No, I was in Hollywood, Glendale. You know, then I was a little bit down south in San Diego and Orange County. Now, you started doing ball pythons, or did you start doing other species before? Like, were you going into this saying, I'm going to get these ball pythons, I'm going to try and breed them and make a little money? Or were you going into it saying, I'm going to get some ball pythons, I'm going to get some colubrids, I'm going to get some lizards and just have fun with it? How did you start the whole thing?
Yeah, it was just like that. I thought, you know what, I'm going to get some ball pythons because that's predominantly what was being, you know, pushed out there on social media and whatnot. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to get some ball pythons and I'm going to see what I can do. And then as I did more research and as I did more, you know, more research on YouTube and stuff like that, I was finding out more people. I was seeing all these other types of animals like blood pythons and anacondas and viper boas, Solomon Island ground boas and black-headed pythons. And I'm looking at all these things. I'm like, I want some of that too, you know, and I can see other people just focusing on ball pythons, and that's great. But I liked all the other stuff too, and the personalities and how they, you know, how they looked and stuff like that. So I kind of became a guy that collects and breeds snakes of different types of species and genetics and stuff like that. And I didn't ever really just focus on ball pythons. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because ball python people are the fucking worst, man. They're just horrible, horrible people, man. And you know, not the top 20, you know, the cream always rises, right?
Yeah.
But the bottom 80, worst people on the planet.
It's competitive. Yeah.
Well, not only is it competitive, it's full of fucking morons too. It's like, you know, you got morons that think you're going to spend $100 and get back 20 grand, and it just doesn't work that way, you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you know, the people that spend $100 and have been breeding or keeping for 3 months, they all have podcasts and live shows telling other people who have been doing it for 1 month how to do it.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, right. Yeah. You've been doing it for 3 whole months. Yeah. Well, let me learn something from you, you fucking cunt. Okay. So, yeah, the majority of ball python people, I do really like the green tree people and the boa people. I'm really getting into them. But, you know, the ball python people that I know are the majority of them are doing it for a substantial, and not necessarily a living, but they're making good money at it.
Yeah.
So I don't really mind the ball python people, and I'm a big, I'm a Justin fan, I'm an Ozzy fan, I'm a Billy fan. The cool thing about my job is that I have to go down to Virginia a couple of times a year, and I literally just pass Ozzy's house, going down there. So I didn't get a chance to see him this last trip, but it was funny because we might have run into each other the last time you were there. So,
really?
Yeah, because I'm that, Virginia's only about 5 hours from me.
Okay.
So I got to go through Maryland and, DC and Delaware.
Beautiful, beautiful. Where you stay at now? Where you stay at?
I'm in New York now.
So that's right. You did say New York. Yeah. So that's the landscape over there is so. I'm a landscape guy. I love trees and landscape, and I love nature and stuff like that. So over there is very different, but very beautiful, man. Very, very beautiful out there.
New York is the worst place on the planet to live. It's so bad. It's but I don't live like in the city, or I'm 25 minutes out of the city in the safe suburbs. Okay. And, we have the occasional trees here, and, I'm right on the water. So that's at least cool. But the people here are just the worst, and I think the whole Northeast people, they're just the worst people ever. So I had just recently went into, like what I think about Northeast breeders, and they're just, I'm just like, they're all exactly what you would think they are. Like if you never met one, but somebody just said, "Hey, what do you think this Northeast breeder is like?" You automatically you think like Northeast, that's shady fucking bullshit, And I had interviewed a guy right here in Connecticut, and he was fucking awesome. I was like, maybe I'm gonna have to change my my thinking about Northeast people. But then I talked to like 2 more Northeast people, and I was like, fuck them, they are all right. So it's that, it is what it is. Now, where you're getting some big people on your channel right now. Now, do you know these people, or are you just reaching out and being like, hey, I got a podcast that 20,000 people will listen to. Do you want to be on?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what I do and what I've been doing is, because these are the people that I interview are people that I've taken time to get to know on social media. I comment on their stuff for a long time. This is something that I kind of already been doing, not knowing that that's what's going to happen. That
right.
I did. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional. Like I started keeping like in touch with Kat Von D and Tommy Chung and them, and I would always comment on their stuff and repost their stuff. Even if you look at my stuff now, I repost their stuff still, and stuff. And they comment every so often. They comment back, and I think that what I think happened is they get to know the right here. You see that my little logo, my little icon. Right. They get to kind of recognize it, and they see that because that's what happens to me when people message me. I begin to kind of see stuff, and I guess my mind makes mental notes. And then when they said, "Hey, man, do you want to do a collab and this and that?" and I'm like, "Okay, this person's been keeping in touch with me for a while. Okay, maybe I'll give him my number. We'll talk and whatever." Right.
Right.
So with time, that's what I would do. I'd be like, hey, and I barely started last year. I had no intention on. I thought it was celebrity stuff was still in the future. I really honestly thought it was still in the future. I just thought, I knew in the future sometime I was going to hopefully do that.
Right.
Go outside of the reptile industry. And I did actually one of my first within my first 10 podcasts or interview shows or chat sessions or whatever. One of them was the owner and creator of StreamYard. So that was that was the first guy. That was when StreamYard was little and had barely gotten light because Google Hangouts took kind of hit the dust. So I'm like, hey dude, let me get you on my show because what you're doing is really helping our industry. So we talked a lot of tech stuff, and I knew then, I'm like, I think I can start getting people in that are outside of the industry and bring them in and stuff like that. And once again, I always knew it was in the future. So when this whole thing happened last year between me and my wife, and I was just really just damaged and broken up and whatnot. I don't know what came over me, but I just sent that my first invitation to Noel G, the Hollywood gangster guy.
Right.
I just said, you know what? Hey, bro, it'd be cool to get you on my show sometimes. Let me know if you would consider it. That's it. That's 100% the way that I ask every single person.
Right.
Hey, so-and-so, it would be awesome to have you on my show. Please let me know if you would consider it. That's it. And he responded like a day later or something like that. And the rest is history, as they say. And I'm like, oh my God. Then I got the interview with him. And then I'm like, I'm going to try it with Kat Von D. And I did. And she responded. And she responded like the next day. And it's a whole story on the whole Kat Von D thing. So I don't know why she said yes. I still don't know why. But her manager, because she referred me to her manager, she said, okay. She messaged me back and she says, I'd love to, but I don't breed snakes and I don't know anything about reptiles. And I told her, LOL, you don't have to own reptiles or be a reptile person to be on my show. It's all about your past, and it's about, the milestones and the inspirational stories that come from your success. And then right away she responded saying, okay, then I'd love to, in all caps or exclamation points or whatever. And I'm like, oh, she seems a little excited. That's pretty cool,
Right.
And I think partially I did ask her because I felt that maybe she knew someone or may have some relations with reptiles because she's a tattoo person and she's like a punk rock person. And I thought that maybe she kind of had some sort of experience and she's zero experience with reptiles.
Right.
So right away she responded, I'd love to. Here's my manager's number. You call her and set it all up, or her email, whatever. And then I talked to her manager like a day or two later or whatever. And she goes, Rudy, she goes, what are you? Who are you? What do you do? And I'm like, and I explained to her. And she goes, oh, okay. She goes, it's weird because Kat Von D never does this. Oh, Kat never does this. She goes, but she called it in personally to make sure that I scheduled you because she really wants to do the show with you. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's good to hear. And because I didn't want to mess up. I didn't want to seem like a chump. I never asked Kat why she said that. I never asked her, and she never said, and I never asked her because I didn't want to seem like a one of those thirsty newbie guys.
Right.
You know what I
don't
mean?
want to be a fanboy. You want to.
Yeah. Even though I was, or I am still, but so not only that, but she wanted it to schedule on her record release date. Her first record she's on tour right now. Her first record, her first record release date for her first record ever, she wanted to schedule me on the same day after her record release party for whatever reason. I don't know why. But she scheduled me on that, even on a very important day like that. And I'm like, really, why did she do that? It was a blessing to me.
Right.
But I didn't know why she did it, and she did that. I didn't ask. Maybe I should have. I don't know, but that's kind of how that kind of came about.
Just roll with it, man. Just
Freaking hey, dude. I'm gonna roll with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I was like 26, I would have been like, why did you do this? I don't deserve it. But at 48, I'm like, hey, they said yes, go with it. Don't even ask questions. It's
48, you already learned to keep your mouth shut at 48, man.
Yeah. Basically, I live my life in a style of accepted resignation, right? It's just like that you have more time behind you than you do ahead of you. So fuck it, just do what you want, and accept the consequences and kind of just go from there.
Yeah, it's called a midlife crisis, bro. And I definitely, I'm not even gonna lie. I've since what happened last year with my wife and I have gone through some sort of midlife crisis. Midlife crisis pretty much means you recognize where you're at, you recognize how much time you have and how much time you wasted.
Right.
And now just got to make the best out of it. Some dudes go out and pierce their nipples, go sell their house and buy a Ferrari and date models, and then their money's gone in 3 months. You know what I mean? But no, that to me, I just kind of just focused myself on Rude Dogg, and Rude Dogg's been leaps and bounds since then.
I get it. I mean, that's the way it was for me. I was in the hospital for a couple of months, and when I got out, I was just like, I'd like to. Like when I am gone, I'd like to fucking leave shit that other people could watch and laugh at and do whatever, so that's kind of like became the driving force behind the podcast. Like I was doing the podcast once every 2 months back then, and as soon as I got out of the hospital and I was like, hey, I could walk, I could do it, every day, that I'm walking is a good day, right? So fucking take that time and use it for something. And I'm not a positive guy. I'm like you. Like I thrive in negativity and fucking bullshit. Like, but like that's really my wheelhouse is just, shit talking and just kind of making people laugh by being the grumpy, mean New Yorker, right? That's like, because I'm more popular now than I ever was with that stupid fucking band. And the band was kind of successful, but now, I love going places, especially to like reptile shows. And let me back up. I don't really like going to reptile shows, but they are my people there, know? And it's really just like a good time. Like I go to Texas, more often than pretty much anywhere else. And I love the Texas people. That's the I definitely plan on moving there soon. But it's it's just nice to know that you're making a little bit of an impact. Like hey, you're making somebody's fucking shitty week a little bit better because you said something stupid and you made fun of yourself and it made that person laugh. Know, so. At the end of the day, that's the guy I like being, but I still fucking hate people and fucking, I will tear a dude a new asshole just for saying hello the wrong way,
I hear you. I hear you.
It's just, if quarantine has taught me anything, it's that like I could thrive here. Like I could really thrive on StreamYard and Zoom and not have to go anywhere. I've been working from home since 2016 and I hate people. So I've been quarantining for fucking years, like way before COVID, and this is what I like. So, this is really like a fun way to do what do what you got to do. And, I'm basically known as the ball python guy who has a show that rips on ball python people, And I'm fine with that. I got no problem with that. So, but as far as Rude Dog goes, where are you taking it from here? Like, do you want to just do this full time?
No,
not at all. Huh?
No. I love my other bit. I have a zeal and a passion for business. My other business. Actually, I have several lines of business inside the umbrella of one business.
Okay.
So it's like having several businesses. And the same thing is beginning to happen here. Like I'm a big Elon Musk fan. I'm a big
me too.
keep everything, keep your plate full. Go, if you're heading in a trajectory, put yourself on 10 different freeways going in the same way. Don't just put one car on that freeway going the same way. Right. That car's going to crash. You got to put 10 different going towards the same goal, and that's kind of where I am with Rude Dog. Rude Dog is going to exist, and so is Del Pro. Del Pro is my other ones. Is Delgado Professional, still Delgado Pro. So Del Pro Industries is my other business, and that there is my passion before this, because it's a service-based company. And I love dealing with the people. I love dealing with these huge conglomerates. I love going into corporate meetings. I love doing all this stuff. I love going out and doing inspections and doing all the stuff that I do. I love what I do. And I'm actually even able to be creative doing the other job as well. So it's another creative outlet as well. And I will not let that go. No. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. That's awesome. Now, I'm going to have to address the elephant in the room. Okay. And that's the massive amounts of Pro Coco signs in the background here. Are you sponsored by Pro Coco or
no?
You just like it that much?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good question, and I know I've never told the story. Not everybody knows what's going on with Pro Coco. So, excuse me. I'm hearing something right outside the door. Can we pause or?
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah, take your time, man.
This segment was edited
No. When you were checking it out, I was thinking his wife is gonna fucking murder him right on the show. I'm like, this is gonna be incredible for me. This is gonna be my big break.
Yeah. And if there's anybody that was gonna be able to capitalize on that, I'm glad it would have been you, man. I'm glad it would have been you for sure. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh
so
my God,
what were we saying? Funny. What were we saying? We're talking about the
Reptile. I obviously am a ride or die Reptile guy.
Okay.
And talk to me about why you use Pro Coco, and I'm going to tell you why it's a fucking stupid story and why you should use Reptile.
Gotcha.
But definitely let me know. Yeah.
Okay. So with
Reptile.
Funny. Oh, you're gonna hear the story. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me take it all the way to the beginning. Originally, I was having a hard time finding the right substrate for my animals. Okay, Aspen wasn't cutting it. Aspen shavings wasn't covering it. Paper wasn't covering it, and that was the main thing that was being used back then. I tried cypress mulch. I tried all kinds of stuff. It wasn't working. It was horrible stuff. I tried stuff that, not that it was horrible stuff, is I didn't like it. I didn't like the way I was working with my animals, and I have an array of different kind of animals. I wanted something I could use for dry and moist and wet and stuff like that, and not just have to use 10 different products, and spend a lot of money on that. So through my, trying different things, I come across Eco Earth, those little bricks of Eco Earth, that. And they're still around, but it's like really grainy, like coffee grains. And I used it, and I liked the way that it worked, but I didn't like that it was real grainy, because in the stuff sticks to the rodents, and then it's not good for all animals. It's good for arachnids and amphibians, but not good for snakes. At least I don't recommend it for snakes. So they had another one that's more chunkier, and then I looked at that one, and I'm like, oh, this one works better. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, and a small brick only costs $10, and it makes so much. It makes oh my gosh, so much. Wow. So I was all into. Then I thought, you know what? A lot of people don't know about this product, and most people don't use it. I was on the internet, and nobody was using it. So I'm like, I think I'm in an opportunity, in a place where I can capitalize on this. So I went on a mission to try to research, and then that's when I found the big blocks of cocoa chips. Then that's when I discovered that. But these were like labeled with no labels. It was just bag block and stuff, and it was mainly meant for growers. It's not really meant for animals. So I bought some of that stuff from Craigslist. I'm doing it on Craigslist, and he had the two different kinds, and I'm looking at this and I'm working with it. I'm like, this is really good stuff. Well, I didn't know what was good quality cocoa chips, like the way that I know now. But to me, it was great. It was working great. But it was really dusty, had a lot of salt crystals, it had a lot of crappy stuff in it, right? Trash and stuff like that. So, but I didn't care, because I found something that worked. So to make a long story longer, I started contacting this person. I go, how much for a pallet? Oh, this much. Okay, how much for like 5 pallets? And he was all this much. I go, you can't cut me a deal? I mean, shoot, I'm going from 1 pallet to 5 pallets. Cut me a deal. He's the same freaking price, if at all. It sounded like he was freaking bringing the price up on me. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, he wanted to give it to me at a certain price, and I wanted to sell it at a certain price. So, what I worked out with that guy, I told him, look, I could do a sponsorship. I sponsor you, I promote you on my social media, and we could do this and that. And at that point, he was had no business. He only had 1 or 2 pallets he was trying to sell, and it was taking him half a year to sell 2 pallets. So but he was mainly selling to growers though, and growers don't buy the chunky stuff; they buy the real fine stuff. But anyways, so he was finding himself, and as he's finding himself, I found him. And I told him, let's work this out. Let's do it. And he said, I don't know, man. So he was really wishy-washy. So I said, okay, at least let me buy from you whatever price you're going to sell. And then I started posting on my social media that I sell cocoa chips. I sell this cocoa chip blocks. It's just stuff that nobody uses. And I was trying to push it and get people to see the light almost, And then this guy would sell it to me for $8, $9, $10. And then I would sell it for $12, $13. I wasn't making money at all, and I'd have to go pick it up from him two counties over. But I was doing it at a loss. I actually was losing money. Not only that, was costing me money. I would actually spend more money on gas and time and effort than actually the money that I was making off of it. But I kept doing it because I knew I knew there was something to this cocoa chip stuff and reptiles. I knew that there was my wife, nobody could convince me otherwise. I mean, this is the stuff of the future. Nobody's going to use anything else. It's cocoa chips, and that's the way this is going to be the main thing. And then that dude started rising the prices on me. He goes, oh man, I got to pay taxes and I got to pay. I go, okay, cool. What you want to charge me? Okay, cool. So he kept rising the prices. And as he's rising the prices on me, he starts becoming more flaky. Like he doesn't want to sell to me.
Right.
And then I told him, look, I'll do reptile stuff. You do Farmer John stuff or whatever. And, we'll grow your business together. And he said, okay, cool, we'll do that. I go, so I'm going to do reptile shows. I'm going to buy a bunch from you so I can go sell at reptile shows. And you can sell at farmer shows or whatever. Okay, cool. So there was a reptile show that happened obviously this is years ago, right? And then I see him there with the booth. I'm like, what's up, dude? What's going on? I thought we had a plan. He goes, oh, hey, what's up, man? And he kind of just pawned me off. I'm like, okay, I know what's up with this guy. So I cut him off. Then I started making phone calls. I ended up talking to Morph Snake Morphology. He used to sell his own brand. Mm-hmm. He used to buy it from the ones that didn't have a brand, and then he'd slap his sticker on it, and then he'd say it's his brand and stuff like that, which is, fine. That's a lot of people do that.
Right.
So I went to him and I got a price and whatever. It didn't work out. He didn't want to give me the prices that I needed. And I'm like, okay, well, he goes, you should try
Reptile Chip Premium Coconut.
All right, I'll call him. And then he referred me to Pro Coco. But as I'm doing research, I also see Reptile Chip. Mm-mm. And I'm looking at Pro Coco and Reptile Chip, and I reached out to both of them. I was able to get that sponsorship. I had to, incorporate Dogg Reptiles, and I had to do all that stuff to be able to do business ads and whatnot. And they did become my sponsors. Mm. They were my sponsors up to about almost 2 years ago. What happened there? Oh, okay. So when COVID hit, he said, okay, Rudy, everybody's pausing their business. If you want, we can pause, our sponsorship program. I told him, look, right now is the time we need to be looking out for each other. I told him, look, I'm going to promote you for free. Mm. You don't have to send me anything free. But not only that, but I'll do you even better. I'll pay for full price for all the pallets you can send me right now. And I will just buy and pay for it myself. And you don't have to worry about sending me free product. You don't have to even worry about it, because we got to look out for each other, and they were really happy about it. They were like, okay, cool, man, that maybe someday we can pay you back. And they did. They took care of me at the back end. But anyways, that sparked me having to order these tall pallets, which I never did before.
Right.
I would only get half pallets, but they started sending me, and I was paying for these tall pallets. And then I realized that more and more as COVID progressed, products started becoming more and more scarce.
Right.
But I always would get it at such huge amounts that I always had it more than anybody else. Right. I don't have a brick and mortar. I don't have a warehouse. I keep all that on my property. I house it in my property. I keep it in my property, and so on and so forth. So I realized at that point, business started going up with Pro Coco, with cocoa chips, that to the point where I realized I didn't need a sponsorship anymore. One thing I do have to say, and a lot of people don't know, I've never used Reptile Chip and I've never used Cocoa Blocks, just to put it out there. So I never know the comparison. Okay. Other people have done the comparison. So does that answer your question? Does that give you the full spectrum of everything that happened?
That does give me the full spectrum. I'm still going to say fuck you. I'm still going to say fuck you. However, I am glad that you're not using that other California cocoa chip. So that's all I really care about. I'm like, all right, cool. And I'll probably cut half of that story off of this, but whatever,
Yeah.
But I still love you, so it's all good. And that's the thing, all the young people should really listen to this, is that, yes, 48-year-old people could still get along even if they have different opinions on things. Yeah. Okay. So fucking maybe that'll teach everybody something.
Yeah.
So, please excuse this brief interruption for a word from one of our sponsors. Boom! It's the first video ad in Snakes in the Fat Man history. Look at it. Look at it! That right there is the best coconut substrate on the fucking planet. Look at this right here. This is also the best coconut substrate on the fucking planet, but it's in a bag. Now this right here is the best coconut chip on the fucking planet. However, it's in a bigger bag. Brick, small bag, bigger bag, whatever. Reptichip is hands down the best substrate for your reptiles. It's the only substrate I actually use here at the Fat Cave. Why? Because it's the best coconut substrate on the fucking planet, and I've been using it for years. And JT Tomlinson, one of my very best good friends, is the president of the company. Want to know something else that JT started? The Reptilution apparel company that gives 100% of the profits it receives back to the reptile community. There's always people and organizations in this hobby in need of some kind of help, and Reptilution is being proactive in giving to USARK, Herp's Family Fund, anybody in the community that experienced some kind of tragedy. JT, Reptichip, and Reptilution is there for them. You see anybody else being proactive like this? Let me answer that for you. No, you don't. Head on over to reptichip.com and pick up a bag, a block, a brick, a box even. They're doing boxes. Boxes of Reptichip now. Pick up a Reptilution shirt if you're feeling sexy. A lot of fun stuff. They got it all there. Red Line Science, tools, shit scrapers. They got everything. It's a one-stop shop, man. You can buy your reptile shit and clothes. Same place. Again, go buy a brick, a bag, box, a shirt, whatever. Just get on it. Reptichip.com. What do you do now? Like, do you sell animals now? Do you, is your main reptile job the podcast, or is it selling cocoa blocks, or not? What Pro Coco, whatever. So like, what's the bulk of your reptile income? Like, where does that come from?
Okay, yeah, okay. So the everything is on the same level as importance. My collection is just as important as the first day that I've had it, so that's very important to me, making sure all my animals are well fed, well taken care of. And, if I have little projects, so that's, and then the podcast too. And then obviously selling the cocoa chips. And then I'm going to get into other revenue streams, but there isn't one main thing that I do. Everything's equally important to me. But if I was to say what's my main point of revenue right now, is definitely cocoa chips, and secondly is my ball pythons that I produce and my animals that I produce on a yearly basis. That brings in a few thousand here and there. And then cocoa, Pro Coco, that definitely is very consistent throughout the year. And that's pretty much it. I am looking into selling rodents. That's already a done deal. A rodent. I'm going to get into the rodent business. That's done. It's not even question.
Right.
And I'm getting into selling rodents. And I'm looking into starting to sell rack systems too. I've already collaborated with some manufacturers in Texas. And that's just the business side of it. I do have other plans with content, with different types of content that there's zero reptile people that are creating right now. And I'm like, why aren't we doing this? We need to do this, to help solidify and kind of anchor down our industry. We need this type of content. And I won't share what it is yet, but you guys will see it. It's kind of a secret for now until it comes out. But hopefully in the next couple of years, I can start seeing the fruits of those endeavors. And then what else? And that's just pretty much what I do. And that's it. And as far as, of course, I'm trying to push the podcast further and to do more celebrities. And if I get any ideas to do other types of interviews with other kinds of people, yeah, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Right. Okay. Now you do fairly well on your live interviews and even your vlog type of things, and I'm talking 10,000 views, 20,000 views, 30,000 views. is your income from YouTube substantial, or is it still, I got 30,000 views, they gave me $90,
No, it's
uh
not that substantial at all. No, because I don't post that much.
mm-hmm.
I don't post that much, and it does. I mean, it's not. There. Obviously, I am monetized, and I do get, but it's not what you would call substantial. Still, Pro Coco's the number one. Pro Coco's number one. Selling animals number two, and a far third would be monetization from YouTube. And then just yesterday, or just this morning, I think it was yesterday or this morning, I posted my first reel on Instagram, and supposedly I monetize on Instagram too, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, do you pay attention to the YouTube, Instagram, Facebook algorithms and all that, or do you just post when you feel like posting?
I used to study it, and I used to watch algorithm experts, and I used to watch these YouTuber experts and on hashtags and how to optimize your videos and thumbnails, and I did that for years. Like at the beginning, it never got me anything, man. It never did anything. It really didn't, man. Well, it did to a certain point, right? Because I've been doing this for 10 years now, and if you really see my growth up against as long as I've been on social media, it's really not that much. I never had the thing that happens with some of these creators where they create this one-off video and it gets some millions and millions of views, and before you know it, they're at 40-50,000 followers. That never happened to me. Never. No. That never happened to me. Everything's been steady growth. And the thing is that as time passes and the more you grow, it kind of, the speedometer goes up a little bit. You start accelerating.
Right.
So the biggest acceleration I had was last year and the year before that, and we'll see how 2022 turns out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's interesting as fuck because I'll be honest, off the show, very little money. I mean, very little money. I haven't even gotten my first YouTube check yet, so that means that I haven't hit $100, right? So
that's what that means.
But you make money off sponsorships and things like that, but mainly I do this show just because it's interesting. It keeps me going, it keeps me involved in video editing and all that other fun shit, and tech stuff, and that's the only reason I'm doing the show. So that's why I like we were talking about before, I laugh at people that are like, you're just doing this for clicks. And I'm like, no, I got a job to pay that. I got a job to pay for the clicks that I'm not getting on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, but it's nice to know that even you're not crushing it on, and I don't mean to say that like a dick, but I mean, it's nice to know that somebody as big as you still isn't killing it on YouTube, and you have to do these other revenue streams, to kind of make up for it. And a lot of times, like everybody has that, like you have multiple revenue streams, but you have a loss leader where, people are, you're making money on other things because of the podcast that you make no money at.
Right.
So
yes.
So that's the fun part about it,
Yes.
So I'm going to keep doing this podcast till I can't do it anymore.
The way that I see it is all of this is going somewhere. I honestly don't see exactly where it's going, but I am going with it, and it is my creative outlet, and I'm kind of going with the flow, but it's kind of like guiding a boat, right? Have you ever driven a boat or whatever? You kind of guide it. It's really what you do. You kind of just guiding it. You really don't, especially when you're gonna park it or whatever.
Right.
You kind of just nudging it until it gets in you, and you park it. You know what I mean? So that's all. That's kind of what I'm doing with my social media. It's gonna get somewhere where it's going exactly, I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna continue to do it, because the way that I see is that I'm doing this, and then I do funny skits, and then I do inspirational stuff, and then I do this, and then I do educational stuff, then I do podcast. All this stuff is a culmination of preparation, that when you get to a point where hard work meets with preparation, and that's where you get success, and when opportunity meets preparation, that's where you get success. You know, this is kind of like what you're doing is preparation for something that's going to come in the future. And someone is going to look at you and be like, either I want to invest in you or I want to do something with you or whatever. They're going to see all the stuff you've already done instead of, well, I'll wait until I see if I have an opportunity, then maybe I'll get started. That's not the way it goes. I saw an interview with DJ Khaled, this famous producer guy, and he said that he didn't see success till he was 40. He was working practically for free 90% of the time his whole life until he hit 40. When he hit 40 is really when he started, and that was because of all the work he put in. He gets paid at the end. Now, obviously, now he's a millionaire, right? But that's kind of what I hope that this all goes. I mean, there's no guarantee, but in the meantime, I'm having freaking fun doing it, man.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's what I'm a big stand-up comedian guy, and you know, Nate Bargatze actually said, with comedy, you either make it at 20 or you make it at 40, but very few people make it in between. You know, but the majority of people that make it at 20, you really don't hear of when they're 30. But the people that make it when they're 40, you hear about them until they die.
Yes,
you know, and the payoff is much better. So, so I'm hoping that that's what this is. But you know, either way, I'm having fun doing it. So, you know, if this thing was fucking miserable for me, I would not do it. You know, and I'm sure you're the same way. You know, like if it's such a problem that it's causing you frustration. You know, life's too fucking short, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's not worth it at this point. You know, it is just not worth my time anymore. Now I choose my time very carefully now. And you know who's really like that? Barcheck, man. I was on a phone conversation with him a couple of days ago, and he was just unloading all this stuff. And I'm like, I think that my trajectory is in what you're doing. Like I could see myself in him. I could see myself in him. I can see myself, you know, a few years from now, 5, 6, 7 years from now, you know, in him, because everything he's doing, and I can kind of understand him too. He's got like 10,000 projects going on at the same time, you know, and it's those that thing where you let life get too quiet, and then at that point was when the demons start coming. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm at too. I love putting projects together. I love being creative. I love trying new things, and I love failing, because the more I fail, the quicker I get to you got to fail, right? No matter what you do, you got to fail. So I might as well fail fast in a whole bunch of things. Just fail real quick and then get to your destination, man.
That's right. Yeah. What did they say? Idle mind is the devil's playground. Well, like if I didn't have this podcast, honestly, I'd be fucking snorting coke off a hooker's ass at some casino somewhere. And that's no way for a 48-year-old dude to live. You know,
me too, bro.
I mean, it's fun.
Man.
It's fun, and you know what that's like from your 20s, but you know you can't do it at your 40. It's, you know, it's a death wish when you're 40.
Yeah,
you know,
so, your body can't take it at that point.
It's just ridiculous. So, Rudy, how could people get in touch with you?
Rude Dogg Reptiles is on all social media. I like to try to keep it consistent. Rude Dogg Reptiles on Instagram. Rude Dogg. Oh, and Dog is DOGG.
You're the double G. You like the Road Dogg from wrestling.
Yeah, I did the DOGG thing because obviously I'm a Snoop Dogg fan. But so it's RUDE DOGG Reptiles plural on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Spotify, iHeartRadio, all those podcast platforms as well.
Fucking awesome, Rudy. Fucking thank you for taking the time, man. I appreciate you coming. I'm so glad to have met you and got to hang out for you for a little while. So, like I said, I couldn't even believe you said yes when you said yes. So I'm gonna ask Kat Von D next week. So, Rudy, thank you so much for being here, man.
For sure, brother.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
God bless. Take care.
All right, I have a couple of questions for anyone trying to run a business in the reptile industry. Do you ever feel like you're held back by a dated or detailed image? Are you sick of competing on price or convincing people to buy your fucking animals? Are you ready for a change but not sure where to start? Stewart Design guides ambitious companies to discover and share their meaningful difference and empowers them to reach their greatest potential. If you've been listening to me for a while, you probably know my man Blake Stewart at Stewart Design. If not, I'm certain you've seen the waves they're making within the industry. They've worked with the biggest and baddest players in the game. Stewart Design rebranded ball python extraordinaire Justin Kabilka over at Canova. They also created the brands for Amos Reptiles, my boy Zach Nava, Garrett Hartle with Reach Out Reptiles, as well as many, many more. Not to mention the rebranding and all the work that Blake has donated to USARK just because of his love for the industry. Stewart Design helps take that dumpster fire shit of a logo you drew in Microsoft Word to a whole new level. Get your big boy pants on because this isn't a game. There are literally thousands of breeders and more coming out every day. So how the fuck will you stand out at Tinley or on Morph Market or at Daytona? Why should anyone buy anything from you when there are literally thousands of other dickheads out there selling the same stuff? If you want to run a real business and not some part-time fucking hobby, you have to stand out and look the goddamn part. If you give a shit about your business and want other people to give a shit about it, get a hold of Blake Stewart over at Stewart Design. Stewart Design is a professional branding agency. Just check out their website to see the list of major national and international awards that they've won. And besides creating kick-ass logos, Stewart Design also designs and prints everything you need to crush your next show, so you don't look like another fucking reject. Business cards, stickers, flyers, table covers, banners, you name it, they got it. Visit sdidentity.com or email info@sdidentity.com to learn more. That's info@sdidentity.com to get started. I want to thank you guys for sticking around. I had a great time with Kasey and Rudy, and things just keep getting better here. Next episode, and I never really announced the guest for the next episode, but I'm so excited about this one. Next episode, we're going to have Seth Breedlove here of Small Town Monsters. Now, if you ever seen a Bigfoot documentary, a UFO documentary, a ghost documentary, then you've seen one of Small Town Monsters' films. I am a huge fanboy of this guy, and I can't even believe that he said yes to coming on this show. I know most reptile people are into the whole cryptid thing, and I'm psyched beyond belief to be one of the few podcasts, along with Rudy Dogg Reptiles, going outside the genre a little bit and doing something like this with fucking cool people that have interesting stories to tell. I mean, what's going to be better than a fucking 1,000 cool-ass Bigfoot stories, man? That's all I'm saying. Now, we drop podcasts on the 1st and the 15th of every month, and we also do the open Zoom call for reptile keepers every 2 weeks. The next one is on, I believe, February 27th. I mean, we just did this last one on Super Bowl Sunday, so, and also it was Arlington, and also it was Knoxville, and also there was a Gettysburg show. And people are still showing up, so I'm not going to complain. We're going to keep doing these open Zoom call for reptile breeders or keepers. And finally, if you're in a position to help the channel out, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/snakesandthefatman. For $5 a month, you could support the show. $5, man. That's like a Starbucks coffee. For $10 a month, you'll get access to exclusive videos that we have on there. We got a new series called It Doesn't Matter. We have the Shitting On series. Actually, the next Shitting On is gonna be about the Gaia gene. What a fucking bullshit gene this thing is. Anyway, the only way you could see these videos is if you're part of the Patreon crew. And again, that's patreon.com/snakesandthefatman. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around. I will see you again in 2 weeks, where we're going to have Seth Breedlove here of Small Town Monsters. Take it easy, guys. Everyone talks their own shit about what kind of racks you should buy. Metal racks are great, but everyone doesn't want a goddamn 7-foot high, 6-foot wide, 2,000-pound metal rack in their fucking house. That's a 2-refrigerator footprint, man. 2 fucking refrigerators. Serpents makes insane quality racks that could fit anywhere. They're stackable PVC racks that are living room friendly, and they're shipped fully assembled with heat tape already installed. Just plug it into a thermostat and you're ready to go. When we had the shop, we had over 20 Sea Serpent racks there before they ever became a sponsor of Snakes and the Fat Man. I don't breed much anymore these days, but I still have a few racks here in my house, and you could be goddamn sure that they're Sea Serpents. Oh, and they also make hotbox incubators, probably the best reptile incubators made in America. At the height of our breeding business, we had 4 4-foot hotbox incubators, and again, I still have a small hotbox incubator here in case anything I keep actually does breed. Go to SeaSerpents.com and check out their incredible selection of PVC racks, and tell Chris Nettles that the Fat Man sent you.